Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from DBpscyhology's. It's Deborah Byrne Psychology Services. Now, this morning I'm going to talk about this week's blog, which is about stress. Now, I have listed out in the blog the common causes of stress and why somebody might be stressed. The thing I would say about stress is, first off, is nothing about it is unhealthy. Okay, so think about stress as being bad and unhealthy, but not all the time. It's not all the time bad. Okay, we need stress to do that exam, complete the project, save the child. Those are the same hormones. Running through our that are helping us to do those also cause us to become overstressed. Now, as I said, you need stress every day. We need stress. It's something that we need a little bit. But when it becomes a chronic condition, when it becomes chronic stress or too overwhelming, that's when the problem becomes, and that's when most people think of as stress, is when it becomes too much for us to handle. So in the blog, I list out some of the common causes of stress, and I then also list out some of the external and internal stresses that we can have. Now, the internal stresses that we can have include pessimism. They can include negative self-talk, and they can include, a lack of flexibility on our part. They can include this kind of all or nothing kind of thinking. Now, that is something you can control. So this brings me on to the main points I want to talk about this morning, and that is using some techniques to help you with stress if you're feeling overwhelmed. Now, if you're in a state of chronic stress, I would very much recommend that you go talk to somebody like me, just because that's what we're here for. We're here to help people solve the situations that they're in, solve the problems that they have, and then to move on with their lives. And one of those situations, would be to reduce our stress. Now, if you want to reduce your own stress, if you want to be very proactive and reduce stress in your lives, the first thing I would suggest is I have a number of questions in the blog where you can start. Okay? And you get a journal and you simply answer those questions. And you start to monitor and look at, where am I getting stressed in my life? What is it in my life that is stressing me out? And you journal them out, and you basically keep a record, say over the next month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and see, is there some sort of a common thread or an individual that is causing you to have very high stress levels? And then you can then, what you can do is review your priorities. All right, you review your to-do list. Now, I've linked in the blog some free pages that I have that you can download, and these will actually help you to review your priorities and review your to-do list. So you should check them out. The other thing I would say is that you need to be using very good self-care, basic self-care, and some self-soothing. Now, what I mean by self-soothing is good habits. Good habits engaging the senses. And these are highly recommended for reducing your stress. And again, I have loads of blogs on each sense, and breaks it down and gives you activities that you can do to engage the senses that will actually help you relax. The other thing I would suggest you do is learn to meditate. And again, in this week's blog, I have given you two links out to two techniques. One would be a 10-minute mindfulness session, and the second one would be the 7-11 technique. Now, you don't have to start off by doing, straight in at 7-11 in terms of this breathing technique. You can go 4 and 6, as long as the exhale is longer than the inhale. So you count for 4 breaths in, and you pause, and then you exhale for 6 breaths out. And it's a very, very simple technique, but it is an extremely effective technique in meditation and in reducing your stress levels and improving your sleep, as is mindfulness. The other ones, of course, are always exercise and healthy eating and cutting down on alcohol and smoking. So that every time a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a GP will come and talk about anything else, they're the first ones we always hit. We always say, eat healthy, exercise, and cut back on the alcohol and the cigarettes, or cut out the cigarettes. Very simply, because they will help you. They actually do genuinely help you. If this is something you want to be very proactive about, and you say, okay, enough is enough, I've had enough, I can see where I've monitored my stress levels, my stress levels are caused by A, B, and C. So if I want to, I can get rid of A, but I can't get rid of B and C, so I need to do something to help me reduce those stress levels. The techniques I talk about in the blog are going to help you reduce those stress levels, including, exercising, getting out, a 10-minute walk, a 15-minute walk, a 20-minute walk even, to start off with, 5 days a week. Get out at this time of the year. It's okay to go out at lunchtime. During the summer, you're going to want to avoid between 10 and 3. But during this time of the year and during the winter and the autumn, getting out at lunchtime is the best time to do that, because you're also improving your vitamin D. And if you happen to have SAD, it's going to help with that as well. Making contact with your family and friends is very important. Now, doing that and going out and meeting them, and it's not just by phone or by social media. We are naturally social beings. Okay, we need physical contact with other adults. Children need contact with other children and adults. Okay, these contacts help us reduce. They produce a hormone in our body, and they help us reduce our stress levels. That's just one benefit of being with them. Getting out and laughing. I mean, they talk about laughter as the best medicine. It truly is. Getting out, having some fun, it helps you to relax. Think about it. It's a very logical thing to do, is to actually, have a bit of fun, relax. And if you think, oh, my job won't let me. Listen to me, guys. We know now from studies that you need that contact. You need to be getting out. You need to be relaxing. You need to use creativity to improve your productivity. Okay? Good creativity, good social interaction, good contact with people, in fact, helps you better at your job. So if you want to be better at your job and you're thinking, oh, I haven't got time. You need this. You actually need this to be better at your job. So if that's one of your excuses, it can't be an excuse anymore. I'm sorry, guys, it can't be an excuse anymore. And coming around to talking about being under stress with your job or even in your life, time management is crucial. Okay, you need to have a look at. I have a great blog on time management, and I link it out from this week's blog. On using time management, and don't think about time management as just something we use in work. We can use time management in our lives to schedule out, using our, getting our sleep, scheduling in our meals, doing our exercises, having some downtime, having some creativity, having a hobby. You need that. It is part of being scheduled. A lot of children are overscheduled these days, but that's in terms of activities. Now, if the activity is of benefit in terms of creativity and actually a relaxing activity, that's wonderful. But kids need time too, just to play. Okay, they need to be out. They need to be playing. They need to be interacting with other children, and having just fun and make believe and all that. All that things that are truly about children and their lives and what it should be like. So have a look at your kids' schedules. You know, are they getting stressed out because they're over scheduled? They need time to rest. They need time to eat. They need time to, to do things other than homework and school and very regulated activities. So do check that out. I do have a blog on that, on helping kids with scheduling their time when they're doing exams, but it does relate to any other time other than exams. It does relate to anything else that you do. Now, as I've mentioned before, using good habits. I call it self-soothing, because the habits that you use, these are beneficial to you. They soothe you, they nurture you, and they make you feel good. Okay, so have a look at them. I have about 6 blogs on one for every sense, and there's lists of activities that you can do and try that will help with stress reduction, and they will help you build up some really good habits, especially if you want to change a habit. A bad habit is something you want to consider. If you're trying to cut back on smoking, then, it's better to implement some good things to do instead of picking up the cigarette and smoking. Sleep. Okay, now we all know we need sleep. But if you have stress and that, you're not going to be sleeping very well. So think about your environment when you go into your room. Is that a sanctuary for sleep? Have a look and see, do I need to remove things? Do I need to remove the television? All right. Do I need to remove technology, all the technology? You're going to have to make it a no-go zone for both of those things. Is it warm enough? Is the bedroom warm enough for me to sleep in? Is it clean? I mean, decluttering your environment is a great way to reduce your stress. There's nothing worse than going out and coming back at the end of a long, hard day at work and seeing a whole load of clutter that it's sitting there in the back of your mind going, I have to do that, I have to do that, I have to do that. There's nothing worse. It's so stressful. So maybe just taking even, your bedroom as the starting point to help you improve your sleep is to declutter it. So maybe taking an hour out at a weekend and starting now this weekend to just declutter that room, tidy it up, have a basket for clothes, have a waste paper basket for rubbish, and just keeping it tidy and more more conducive to sleep. And that again brings me around to, you're reviewing your priorities and your to-do list. Now I mentioned them in regards to time management, and I mentioned them in regards to journaling and seeing what your stress levels are like and what is it that's actually causing your stress levels. So do go and have a look at those 2 handouts that I have on my blog. They're under resources, so have a look there. They're free resources under membership. You don't have to sign up for any membership. They're just there under that section, and you can download them and check them out. And please, when you do review your list and you see, I've taken on somebody else's work either at home or at work, hand it back. Okay, be respectful enough to realize that this person is an adult. And if they aren't doing their job properly, or if they aren't, taking their responsibility seriously, well, then they are adult enough to suffer the consequences. So try and, it's hard sometimes when you have very slowly taken on the roles of enabling other people, but try and hand it back to them. Say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not covering for you. It's only adding to your stress. You're there to do your job, and no more. You're not there to do other people's jobs. You're not there to cover for them. You have to be, you have to give them the respect they deserve, and that means giving them back their responsibilities. So I'm going to leave it there. Do check out the blog. It's at www.DeborahByrnePsychologyServices.com. I do link out to a whole load of other blogs in this week's blog, which you might find useful as well. And I will see you next